Awesome. So this is good. This is good talk then. So I think my specialty, I was thinking about all the coaches, Scanter included, and all of them, and I think out of all the other coaches, my specialty is definitely rotations. But I think my real specialty is actually doing well with the team, considering we're outgunned, as in outskilled, like outrank point, if that makes sense, right? So like some of y'all have even played with me in comp. But like what I mean by that is, for example, my team, I don't even have a team right now, but like I can roll with people who aren't in the top 25 on like one pop.1, and we can beat people who are in the top 25 on one pop.1. All right. So I think the cool thing is the info I have today for you, I think it should be encouraging. So I have gotten to gold. We would have made it to red. I saw what teams actually made it or are making it to red now, and my team would have made it to red if we didn't quit. And so what I'm trying to tell you is I think y'all can make it to gold at your skill level, which is good. That should be encouraging, assuming you have good rotations, good teamwork. You can accommodate for lower skill, and it's okay to say that because, for example, like all diamond division, someone brought this up today in like stream when I was playing with Radfox, and someone said like, how old is Pink? And I said 36, and they said, oh, thank God, because I'm 35, is what one of the viewers said. Because there's no one who is Diamond Division level skill. Yeah, there's no one who's Diamond Division level skill who is my age, essentially, I think. And so they're all 20 or below, or 22, 23, right?
Really?
Yeah, they're all 25 and lower, I think, is official. There might be one or two.
Good reaction time at that age.
Yes, it's just like a sport. It really is just like a sport. Boxing, right? Everyone hits their prime in the 20s, right? And so, that's a different kind of thing you have to practice. Like, making to there, like, is different. Like, I think there's stages of skill. Like, first off, you have to learn the tactics, the rotations, the strategy, the teamwork. And then you can accommodate for a lot of, like, you can make the difference up in skill a lot. Like, you can accommodate for lower skill. But then you're going to hit a point where skill does matter, and that won't be until red. So that's good news for everyone here, I think, is what I'm trying to tell you. And so I'll give you some tips to jump the meta that I've really been working hard on. And so I don't know if you watched the tier list video, but right now the current meta is essentially the rifles, right? Especially all the new rifles, right? Everyone's shaking their heads like, oh yeah, the FAL and the RFB are so OP, right? And that's your first thought, right? But and MP5 too, right? I hear that one come up quite a bit, right? For whatever reason, everyone's saying. But actually, yes, that's the meta now at this second. But everyone's going to quickly realize that those guns are dog trash because they do nothing to build. Nothing to build. And I even put the FAL video out, and I was like, oh, yeah, this gun's like straight OP. But the funny thing is, all of the rifles, they balance the game really well, Big Box, because all the rifles are dog water right now. And so if I spam build, you can't hurt me if I spam build with an assault rifle, except the M60. That doesn't count, right? So right now, the current meta is those assault rifles, but it's going to change. And I think once it settles out, it's going to be weapons that break build. And everyone on the team, or at least one person, has to have something that breaks build. What's up, Leo?
I would like to say I think the M60 is pretty meta also.
Yes. And for that reason, it's the best gun at breaking build. Absolutely. One of your teammates should be using that or a P90. Okay? Period. Right? You can't have a squad that doesn't have one of those, okay? Because if 3 of you are shooting with an RFV at build, yes, if all 3 of you are focusing one guy who's trying to spam build, you will break that person's build, right? And that will work. But in real life situation, not all 3 of you are going to be able to focus one guy because you're going to get shot by the other 2 guys, right? So you're going to need one person with an M60 or a P90. Why? Because if you haven't noticed, no one in Diamond Division or even Red Division and Gold gets shot for more than 1 second. As soon as they get hit by one bullet and they know they're not going to lose the fight, what do? They build a fortress, right? All the time. And then what do you do if you have a FAL or an RFB? RFB is 9.5 shots per second, and it takes 7 bullets to break one build. So it takes you essentially a second to break one build when I can build a fortress in half a second, right? So like you have no chance. And so what I use, someone asked me this earlier, is the P90. I think that is the god tier right now. I think that's the new AK. The P90, because it does everything. It does close range, it does mid range, it does long range if you can master the recoil. The reason why it does close range now is because the DT got freaking nerfed, and so you don't have to be as scared close range. And so I'm actually using a P90 only build sometimes, and it works really well if you know how to avoid the close encounters. And so you need build break on your team. And so if you don't already, if you get shot, don't turn around. Like if you get shot in the back, don't turn around and try and win the fight and think my aim is better than that person's aim, because you're gonna lose that fight, right? Unless you have like 3 times better aim than that person, right? So do the same thing as those gold, red, and diamond division players do. Just build a fortress, recover, reassess the situation before you go back in the fight, okay? And so that's what I want to see a lot of today, like a lot of build. Use all your build before you die. Honestly, with this current meta, there really is no reason to die before you spam all your build unless you got double sniped in the head or something, and that does happen. So RFB versus AK, I think that's a really good question. I spent several days on that, and so I had to message Big Box to find out what the rate of fire speed was for the AK. It's 11 shots per second versus 9.5 for the RFB. So I mean, you get a lot. The AK essentially shoots faster and does more damage per second than the RFB, which I think is awesome because, like I said, you only get 1 second to shoot a good player, right? Even if they don't expect you and you're looking right at them, they're just walking the open, you're going to only get that 1 second before they build, right? And so I would rather have the AK because of that. But the RFB does have more ammo, right? And so, whatever. And you can also shoot the AK laser beam just like the RFB if you master it. I can laser beam one hand. Any questions before we get rolling into kind of next steps?
Didn't they, just one quick question, didn't they like make the recoil worse on the P90?
Yes, that is correct. The P90 has 5 counts. The first 2 counts are a straight vertical line, and those are actually easier than last patch. The last 3 counts are schwiggles, like rotations. And all 3 of those counts are random. As in they follow a somewhat certain pattern, but it's like really, really random. So you do your best, and so you just get better at adapting to it. I have like a general pattern I follow, and then I accommodate for the randomness just by adaptation, if that makes sense. And you can just watch the P90 masterclass video. It has that for it. Any questions on like how to get out of your current division, for example, your current tournament division?
I mean, I think that's at least what me and my squad mates are trying to do.
Any questions, like things you're struggling with, maybe?
Blue, we qualified strong, but then, like, we went against, at least 7 squad lobbies.
Mm-hmm.
We were in 7 squad lobbies, and we were really on top of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as a young squad, we just had not... We were gelling, I would say, right? But we don't have the skill that these other players do.
See, that's the wrong mindset, first off. We don't have the skill these other players do, especially in blue, right? So purple, I can understand that because I get thrown in purple. And, like, it's just funny because, like, it doesn't, we can just raffle. But blue and white and honestly even purple, I think one thing I was thinking about before I come here is if you put yourself in a situation where you're relying on your aim to win or your skill, especially under red, then you're in the wrong and you've already lost that fight. Does that make sense? And so I was playing with someone even earlier today, and I didn't say it to their face, but I said they were one-dimensional. And so what I mean by that is they have really good aim, really good stats, and they do really well. But then when they run into players who are not those one-dimensional players like myself, then the person doesn't know really what to do. And so every time you get into a fight, if you're relying on your aim, you failed. Because those people in diamond, red, and sometimes even gold, what do they have? They have valve indexes with 144 frames per second. They're young kids with super quick reflexes. You got no chance. But you can outsmart them and out-strategize them. And you can certainly do that to gold. Yeah, you can certainly do that to gold division, okay? So that yes, there is skill involved, yes, of course, but you can definitely accommodate for
feel
that.
a lot better. That makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah, it should. And here's the trick. I think
This gives me faith. I want to take this magic pill.
yes, the magic pill is participate in comp as much as you can. But I think the magic pill is when I play, like I'm looking through my eyes, right? But I have this like third eye that is seeing from above, like I was in spectator mode. Like I'm not actually looking in spectator mode, like I'm not cheating, but like I have this mental thing in the back of my mind where it feels like I'm looking in spectator mode. That's why I sometimes like I rely on my teammates' aim because sometimes I'm just like thinking in bird's eye view. So for example, what I mean by that is every time you play comp and you die, like at the end zone, I hear it every day I play comp, right? Like, oh, they should have done this, they should have done that in the final zone, right? Yes. It's easy to see when you're on top looking down, right? But when you're there, it's a different story. So you have to get to that point where you're in your own mindset, you're in the game, and you can see from the bird's eye view. I don't know how to really make that make more sense, but
It's called your
Yeah.
mind's eye.
yes, your mind's eye. So when I'm playing, I'm always in my mind's eye. So like even like I remember the last game I played, I was like, there's 2 teams left. We're really dominating this team. We're finishing them up. I was like, watch out for the team behind us. What happened 4 seconds later? The team came from behind us, and we were somewhat mentally ready. And so that's what we want, obviously. But it's
So situational
Yes.
awareness is definitely.
yes, that is the most important skill to get up to goal.
Practice. I mean, that kind of, and especially when, and I guess maybe that's why we're here, especially in
Yeah.
the team, to be able to communicate what you're seeing and hearing,
Mm-hmm.
and where the limitation to that is.
Yeah, I have good tips for
Talking
that.
about our kids and stuff like that.
I'm if you played with me, I don't talk about fun stuff, which kind of is probably boring. But I think one of the biggest tips I have is everyone has to help sight, scope, if that makes sense. Everyone has to sight. So I think one of the biggest problems on my main team was I was the only one able to see far distance because I think I was the only one hooked up to a PC. And so I can see people a mile away, but then no one else on my team could. And so if I don't see it, we die because they already pin dropped us. They're already behind us. They're already right next to us. And I had no freaking idea. Now, I'm not saying you have an excuse if you're on the native, but like everyone should help visually. And if you see someone like, I was so, I'm not going to mention which team this is, but I was so frustrated with the team because, like, I felt like if I didn't see it, they were already on our face, and then it was too late, and we were dead. So I want everyone on my team always looking far in the distance. So I say, eyes up, everyone. Look out in the distance. I don't want that team in my face because by then, like, Muffin Man's already on me with a DT, and I'm screwed. So,
For like, I think our biggest problem was it was 7 team lobbies. Because we did actually quite well when it was 6, but when there was 7, it was like sometimes we had a good rotation, but then there was one team coming behind us, and then another team had the same idea, and they were like, and then eventually we got squeezed.
yeah. Okay, let's get to it.
Games where they were
So now, like,
And we
you know,
always
sometimes-
quoted you, Pete, because we'd be like, grab a sword, run in between those 2 teams, and get the fuck away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't always
I
happen.
told
It
Leo,
didn't always
you know
happen.
what? Everyone is gonna go to Metropolis, do the nice rotation. I'm just gonna do the stupid thing and walk straight to the zone, and no one's gonna expect that.
Mm-hmm.
That actually worked.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. So I guess I'm really a strategizer. So it just comes naturally to me. But like the first game, I always play safe because I'm kind of feeling out the teams. Like I know as soon as I get in who's the aggressive team, or if there is an aggressive team, right? And so it's all about rotation. And so you really have to know your enemies, know your enemy squads. And so I'm reading every squad in the first dang game. I don't sit here with a pen and pencil and do it, but it just comes to me naturally, and I don't even have to think about it anymore. But what I mean by that is, like the first game, I'll feel it out. We'll just play like a zone edge, zone corner, right? And we'll just play it all the way through. But by the end of the first game, I know exactly how to play every other game after that. And so how to rotate, right? Yes, it's different every game, and that's the problem. There's no one formula for how to rotate, right? And that is the big issue. But I think the most typical game you'll get is everyone is riding the zone sides, right? And so what I mean by that is you have your zone borders. Everyone's riding either a corner or they're riding either the edge, right, the line. And the more aggressive teams will be pushing that line because they know everyone's on that line, if that makes sense, right? And that is a problem. But let's say let's start with, I guess, the typical situation. Everyone is working the edge, working the line, right? What do? This game is all, especially the comp, especially Arc, especially those kind of, especially ranked right now. You work the hard cover, period. Especially now, once everyone starts realizing how good an M60 and P90s are, builds are good now and OP now because everyone's using the rifles, but soon it's going to switch back. And so what I mean by that is you work the hard cover. So, for example, in Metropolis, if you pull up your map, and everyone pulls up your map, if I'm coming out of Metropolis and I need to get to Plains, where am I going to go? I'm not going to take the straight line from Metropolis to Plains, right? Because that's death. Going to truck stop, going past the tower, going past Plains. Why? I'm going to get pin dropped by tower. There might be people inside. There always usually are. Truck stop and all that. That's all open area. I hate construction because everyone can see you and you get shot from all angles, right? So where am I going to rotate through? I'm going to rotate on the right side. Yeah, you're right. Summit, the high ground at the cliff side, and the farm, then you're going to work down depending on how the zone closes, right? So you work the high ground, work the hard cover. What's up, Googs?
Do you have, is it one person calling, where you're going in your team, or is it a combination of the three?
That is a good question. Usually it's me, honestly, but...
Okay.
It depends. Cool. If it was my usual team, like Sammy and Spray and them, it was more of like a democracy. Sometimes that got us in a lot of bad situation, as you were kind of applying, because we're here debating, and I was like, no, if you just listened to me, we would have been okay. And same with them, and so.
Because doesn't it go down to earlier, like you were saying about that second? I mean, that second.
Yes, you gotta make decisions. You gotta make them quick because that window closes quick to make that decision and do it well. And so what we're gonna do today is we're gonna have one person call the shots, and only one person every game. And there's gonna be 3 games, and everyone's gonna rotate being the leader once. Wait, we have doubles. So we can do 3 games and someone can be the leader twice. That's fine. It doesn't matter. And so, yes, it's always good to have one person, even if it's a wrong decision. Sometimes it's better to just focus on the decision and play it out well than it is to debate it and then not do anything and you get screwed and shot from all angles, right? Because sometimes you just need to run, and every second, if you stall for 1 second, you're screwed when you would have made it around that corner or not, right? What's up, JLT?
I have a question on that, on speed.
Go for it.
Especially in Metropolis, when do you decide, when you drop, you still don't know where the sun is gonna go, you start looting. How long do you take, and when do you decide which way you're going? Do you wait until you know when the sun is going, and then you start moving? Or as soon as you drop, you say, okay, we're going to either Defiance or Summit, depending which way sun goes.
Thank you. That's a good question. This is good for getting us in line of what to do in your games coming up. So if you've seen all my old videos, and I can't imagine you have because they're long as heck, as soon as everyone pods out, I know usually where they're going to pod, and I know you're always paying attention, obviously, to all the pods, and you need everyone's eyes on that because, not one person can see everything. And so that's definitely where multiple people looking out and communication is welcomed, right? Because you are going to watch, when you first do this game, you're going to watch the pods. I want you to know where everyone dropped as soon as they pulled their pods. I want you to know where they are, and if you don't know exactly where, guess, right? If you saw it go to Metropolis way, clearly they're going to Metropolis, right? And so just have educated guesses on where everyone is on the map. Know your enemies and how they rotate. For example, I told you I was going to rotate the hard cover. Well, hey, if everyone's good players, they're all going to do the same damn thing, right? And so you're going to have to plan for that. And so what I mean by that is you have to know your enemies. For example, everyone's going to roll hard cover here. So if you're rolling from, Metropolis to Summit, expect to see a team. Don't just walk in the open right up there. Work that hard cover. Okay, we probably got a team looting in the buildings here. We got to work this hard cover, work it slow. Okay, I don't see anyone. All right, we're safe to rotate a little bit, right? And so you have to know your enemies. As soon as you see those pods and you know where they are, then you have to guess where everyone's going to be on that first zone rotation. The first zone rotation is probably honestly the most important one in terms of like this map awareness kind of thing. If you ride your pod all the way out, the zone's going to close before you're full looted, like really quick. And so how do you know where to go? Well, unfortunately, if you pod it all the way out to the very end of the map, you don't have much option. Because the zone's going to close by the time you get a couple guns, and then you're probably running straight to zone, looting on your way, okay? And so if you pod it all the way out, you're kind of in a bad situation because you don't have much time to choose. But if you drop earlier, you're actually in a good advantage because you can loot up more and you get more option. You have more places and choices to rotate to, okay? So there is advantages to potting later. You're going to avoid the hot droppers who are always the better players, right? Because they know they can take anyone at the hot drop. They don't dare drop in a comp match unless they know they're going to take everyone out, right? So it's even more of a threat. I wouldn't drop in a comp match unless you are that team, but I'm assuming no one here is if we're here together doing this. So I would say roll pot out. Don't paw it all the way unless you have to, but don't get me wrong, I do a lot more than I don't. And so, yeah, that was my answer to your question. JLT?
Yeah, my is more of a statement. A couple of months ago, maybe like 4 or 5 months ago, you invited me, and I remember this. It was you and Scrim. I'm like, holy cow, this was awesome. So it was, it was, honestly. I was intimidated, but I followed everything Pink had to say, and we played a game of War. And I don't know if you guys remember War, but it was like, 8, 9 people on each team. And
yeah, it's crazy.
But what I'm about to tell you guys, I remember all of us were dead except Pink. We started at Complex. He rotated to Outpost, to Observatory, to Plains, to Farmlands, to Foothill, to Summit, all the way back to Complex. Basically did in an entire circle. We ended up winning that game. I couldn't keep up with them, but we ended up winning, and it was amazing. I couldn't believe it. So I'll never forget that game.
I remember that game. It was a bunch of people we didn't know, obviously, and we were in the construction, and I said, yeah, and I pretty much led these people who are not people even nearly as good as everyone in here, and we won against a really good team, actually. And I said, I think I was using a bunch of cuss words. I was like, no one gets across this fucking street. This is our fucking building. Don't let anyone, you spray that shit. Like, don't let anyone across that street. And we won. I remember that one. I'll edit that out of this video. This is funny. Okay. Questions on rotation before I'll walk you through mid game and end game, and then we'll get to it. I don't want to talk forever. I want you all to play. But
one big thing, if you just wanted to gently touch, just in battle kind of rotation. I know it's an issue for me, to make the decision when to evade, when to rotate, on a team, when to fight.
God, that's a good one.
Every situation's a little different, but I guess maybe to refine it, what would be when you encounter a team, what would you do? Would you look for to rotate and find a better position on them?
Man, this is a good question. This is a really good question. So there's 2 battles. For comp, there is 2 battles. There's the long distance battle, and then there is the close range battle, right? The close range battle, you have to fight. There's really no running from that, right? At that point, especially if you're playing against good players with DTs and whatnot, right? And so in my teams, I always make sure we have one good opper, right? At least one good opper. Usually you're not going to find 2 good ops in a comp game. So you have to have one good opper. Everyone should have some kind of long-range gunner, be able to shoot long-range. And so what I mean, to answer your question, I try to keep teams away from me. I'm usually the best close-range player in the team, but the problem is I'm usually the anchor in the team. As in, if I go down, usually we lose, and that's not a good thing, but it's just the sad truth. And so I try to keep teams away from my team as much as possible until the final zone. Because, to be honest with you, close range is risky. Everyone knows how to shoot a DT. Well, especially now that reloading's easy and, there's swords and, now matadors. Close range is a gamble. I don't like gambling. So I always play the odds. And so to answer your question, it's all about the odds. Know your enemies, know your team, who's going to win the long range fight, right? If you're I think to judge that calculation, if I had to put it in a math equation, it's hard cover, including your teammates, your squad's skill versus the enemy team's squad skill and their hard cover, right? Who's going to win? So you kind of have to do that kind of balance scale, right? Where, okay, my team's higher skill, even if we have the less hard cover, we're going to be okay. but no, and vice versa, right? And so that's how you got to play that. If your team's taking shots, you're running out of shield, then you got to get the hell out of there, right? And so it's got to be a quick judgment call too. You can't hesitate, because usually in those, I think the reason people die is because they hesitate, right? Like, should we run? And then by then it's too late. They're already on your face with DTs. Right? So the biggest thing I think is, and I did this in the chart. I made a video on how to charge 101. And now that I think about it, you have to decide whether to retreat if you're losing that long range poke. Does that make sense? So if you're sitting there with ops, your team and the enemy team, if your team got hit with 3 op shots and you didn't hit a single shot on them, you better start getting ready for them to charge you. Okay, that's what's going to happen. So you got to get ready for them to charge you. So you have to answer their charge, because they're going to charge you if they hit 3 headshots, right? They're going to. You can't sit there behind your hard cover and do nothing, because they're just going to charge you harder. So you got to either get the hell out of there, or you got to rotate to other hard cover that's going to give you a better advantage on them and peek. That's really the only answer. Okay, and so to answer your question, yes.
Basically, like your video. I mean, if you're taking a predominant amount of long-range damage and not doling it out, you better get the hell out, because they're about to push you.
It's pressure.
You're a weaker team.
Yes, it's all about the pressure. Who's getting pressured the most? I think that's the answer to your question. You sit there in that second. I think it's in like boxing, what they do in boxing. Whose shoes would you rather be in? Would you rather be the guy on the right or the guy on the left? The guy who's looks like he's bleeding, or the guy who looks like he's fresh? And I think that's the answer to this question as well. Yeah. Which squad would you rather be at this second? If you're not that favorable squad, get the hell out of there to a place you'd rather be. I think that's probably the best way to do it.
We'll call it a tactical retreat instead of running away.
Yeah, hey, every player runs, and they should.
What we're learning here, it's like for squads and stuff, right?
Yeah, totally squad. Yep. So, okay, so we got beginning of the game. Watch the pods. Guess where the enemies are. Look at where the zone's closing. Guesstimate. I'm looking at the map most of the time while I'm in the game, and especially in the beginning. Guesstimate where your team's rotating to, or where all the enemies are rotating to, and put yourself in the place based on your guessing that's going to put you in the most advantageous situation. You're not always going to be right, and you're not always going to be, clear, as in you might run into a team you weren't expecting. Have a backup plan. I think if I learned anything from Call of Duty, because it's a faster game, it's always have a backup plan all the time. So even when I'm flying in the air, I go, if I get shot at this very second, what is my backup plan? Well, you should always have a backup plan everywhere you go, every single step. If I'm in this open right now and I get shot from that sign, what is my backup plan? I'm going to build and fly over here to this hardcover on the right, right? And so, yes, in the middle, I want you to keep looking at your map, keep guesstimating, know which people in this lobby play more aggressive than others, or who you think will be doing better than others. You just have to know the stronger teams, and go navigate to the end zone. So ideally, what would be nice is if I saw a lot of you in the end zone, like 3 teams in the end zone, because honestly, the close range at top tier, if you haven't noticed when you watch like a top tier game, there's like 3 teams in the zone, and they're building up to the sky, and like the zone gets so tiny. And I've heard some people say, I've never seen a zone like that before, but that's like the normal. But so yeah, so it's like I want to see all of you, as much of you as I can, in the final zone. And when you're in the final zone, you build, you spam all that build till you die, right? You build up a fortress, you hide in that fortress, you want to make sure you're the last one standing. Placement is worth a lot, especially in ranked, or whatever you want to call it, squads right now, right? The cool thing is, all this stuff I'm teaching you would have usually only applied to ARC, but now, since ranked is ARC, which you can complain or like it, whatever, it is what it is now. Squads is now ARC, okay? Because first place means so damn much, and second place. So yeah, this is really applicable to this whole game now. So once you get to the end game, you build up all your fortress, use all your build. There's no reason you should die before using your build unless all the teams are focusing on you. And you have to be careful of that end zone. So we talked about mid game. Honestly, mid game is just rotating and tactically, picking your fights, always having the backup plan, and surviving to the end zone. The end zone's a little different. I think what I've seen a lot of, and I've seen this in ranked. I hate it because I don't like to play that way in ranked. But usually you have 3 or 4 teams. camping out different hardcover in the second to last zone, right? And no one wants to make a move because no one wants to be the one getting third party, right? Because that's what happens. And unfortunately, that's how it happens in comp. So it's really crappy because you're pretty much playing the game the whole time in this last two zones of not being the one who gets third party. And that's pretty much how you have to play it. I hate to say it. And so you're going to have to do that math in your head. So in the final two zones, I want you to do that math of not being the one who gets third party and being the one that does do the third party. Okay. Questions before we roll? Because I've been talking too long. I want to get everyone playing. I want y'all to not just listen to me.
Let's rock and roll.
Question? Any parts of the map you avoid starting?
No. I think they're all good just based on where... Plains is the only one I don't like because I feel like it's so open. Yeah. Maybe just Plains. Yeah, Plains. Death Valley. Yeah, that can be. Yep. That can be in there. But usually if you pot out that far, then it's probably not a lot of people around you, and you'll know if there are. But yeah, Plains and that is not so good. Everything else is okay, I guess. Outpost just doesn't have a lot of loot in the hills around Outpost, right? There's just no loot there. That's a dead zone too. So you either have to go to the tower or Outpost Hill, the actual Outpost Hill. But those are probably only dead zones I know of. And between Cemetery and the tower. That's the same thing, I guess. Any other questions before we get rolling?
Yeah, rock and roll.
Let's do it.
All right, everyone. Welcome. We are going to get to the CIC clan coaching practice scrims. Comrades in Carnage, an awesome clan. All really nice, really cool people. Really friendly, good friends, and we are doing this right now. They are practicing their rotations in a duos scrim. Okay, so we got one squad dropping out in the dead zone that I told them that wasn't a good idea, but it looks like they're going to go to tower. That isn't a good choice, the center of the map. We got one team in Metropolis. We've got one team in Foothills. We've got one team in the Frontier all by themselves, and we got two in Observatory. If I have to guess, the action's going to happen in Observatory. Okay, so we have the first close of the zone. Now, it's unfortunate you don't really have much control of the first zone, right? So, unfortunately, a lot of people are going to have to run to zone. The people in Frontier are going to have to run straight to zone pretty much. They don't have much option. They're going to have to take the zone corner right here. You're going to have this team in Foothills that has a lot of option. They can go to the tower. They can go to the zone corner. Or they can rotate up farther because they have a lot of time till the zone close since there's a lot of distance here. This team, unfortunately, is not going to have a lot of option just because of how far they are away from zone. It's just the sad truth of it. Kingdom, same thing. Same thing for Kingdom Squad. They're going to have to go straight to Plains, essentially. And if they were watching the pods, they're going to realize that there was a squad at Frontier. There was a squad at Observatory. And thus, they're going to have to go straight here because otherwise they're going to get kind of squished by both teams. So if I was the Kingdom Squad right now, what I would do, Trapdoor Squad, is I would either push one of the squads on the left or the right, like push them really hard, or you go straight to zone and hold some nice hard cover. Okay, if I was Trapdoor and Spiral Riders team. So now, Moody Dad and Speeding Leo, now that you're here, you probably must know that there's no one in Cemetery, and there's probably not a lot of people close by. If you were watching the pods, you would probably have picked this up. I hope you did. If you did, you have a lot of options here. You can hold people at the zone, like you can hold hardcover at the zone line, the white zone line, and hold teams from getting there. Like, you know a team's coming from Metropolis. It's kind of hard to hold a team from Metropolis because they have so many ways to rotate in. But you have options. You can hold a team, ideally one team, not two teams. You can rotate to Cemetery because Cemetery is safe. Or you can just keep looting and hold Defiance and be sneaky. Or you can... I wouldn't push towards tower. There's too many dang teams there unless you're just trying to play super aggressive. So what I would do, I think the two best options for you all would be hold the team that's coming from Metropolis at the zone line, or go loot in Cemetery and play pretty much hide and seek until zone gets really small so that you can get a nice placement. Okay, no teams fought yet. We have one team here that actually did kind of this probably the best option that they had. They are going to push one side versus go straight from Kingdom to Plains. They said, no, Plains is death trap. They were listening to the coaching earlier. So they said, Plains is a death trap, particularly if we're in 2 teams. Let's just rotate towards Outpost. So they're rotating towards a hard cover at Outpost. That's great. Fortunately, this team is not going to hold this team's at the zone line. They said, hey, you know what? Let's play for placement. Let's go inwards towards zone a little bit more. Oh, we got fighting. Okay, so this team decided, no, we're not going to be in the middle. We're going to rotate towards one team, and they rotated towards one at the zone line, and they fought at the zone line, at the zone corner. And so that is naturally going to happen when you have teams pod out and the zone just screws you sometimes, and it's as far away from you as possible. Unfortunately, as soon as I see the zone close on me like that, where I'm all the way at the edges, and you see it there, I go, we either have to blitz now to zone to make it so we're not getting held at the zone corner, or we're going to have to charge one team and fight a team. We have no choice, okay? And that's just the unfortunate spot about positioning there. You either have to get the hell in the zone, or you got to fight that team so well that you push them out. Okay, so we have 2 teams here. It looks like this team is holding this team now from zone, which is now at Outpost. So they're doing well. They don't have anyone else near them, so this is good for Team A. Team A, Speeding Lou and Moodad, they have really good hard cover versus B. Team B, their backs are exposed and they're making a lot of noise, but they're very fortunate that no one is close by to hear it. I hope that was planned and calculated, because if there were people around this area, they'd be in big trouble. They get shot in the back, and they don't really have a way out from here. But it's really good tactically against Team B at least. And Team B said, oh, hey, you know what? This is not a good idea. Great choice, Team B. They said, no, we can't push that hard cover. This is good cover. They can just peek these walls. We're going to run all the way and rotate all the way towards the tower. Now, if they're going to do this, they have to do it fast. Looks like Ghosty's doing good on the rotation. Zork a little bit behind. Too much ground walking Zork. There's many things you can grab and fly there. So when you're rotating Zork, you got to fly. Too much ground walking Zork. So always fly. 85% of the time you should always be flying, particularly when you have to rotate hard and fast. The good thing is the zone doesn't do a lot of damage here. If this was purple or gold, I think the zone does a lot more. Or go or rad or... yeah, go or rad. The zone does more damage. So you have to be faster on the zone rotate, because y'all would be dead already, Team B, if you rotated this hard and this long in zone. Yeah, and the zone's hurting. Hopefully you got health, but good job rotating out of there. This team was nice and let you in, but then again, they probably don't want to hunt you down too hard, because they could get shot in the back, because this is a lot of open area. So good choice by this team, Team A as well. They're saying, no, we're not going to rotate through this dead zone. Let's rotate back hard here, because there's likely a team going to be in this hard cover. We don't want to be stuck in this open area and get squashed by everyone. Great rotation, Team A. That is good rotate. Good job. Good job. All right, Team F. In a nice little corner here. Oh, they have a nice zone hold. They have a corner here on like with high ground and cover and peak. This is a nice hold. Good positioning, Team F. Very nice. Okay, missing some shooting. Looks like we're getting long shots by Team C. Shooting at Team A that was rotating from Cemetery. They took a lot of hits, Team A, but there still is enough hard cover to live. They should not rotate this way, because going up against his helipad is certain death. You pretty much have to rotate towards this direction, which Moody is doing. I think Leo should be catching up, but you should always stack. Even if you're in Team of 3, stack, and you should rotate this way. This is your best bet. It's not perfect. It's not pretty, but this is your best bet right here if you're watching this again. Okay, so we got people who met up at the zone, and this is the unfortunate thing about working the zone line. Sometimes you're just going to run into other teams, and you're going to have to fight it out. You can't run forever. You got to fight sometimes. And so this is a point where it's really a gamble, and you just got to play it out. Zones, you guys are all deep. Team B and D are deep in zone. Team F's got the perfect spot here. They should be able to clean this up. Team F has certainly got many free kills here. Yep, there it is. Good shot, Spiral Rider. Too long in zone, y'all. If you're watching this, y'all did really good rotating until the zone started closing. You got to move faster. I think all of you did excellent rotate, but you have to know how to move faster. And I got to do a video on that clearly.
I don't know who. Were you guys spectating long enough to see who was at construction shooting at us?
You can check the tape. I forgot who it was. I think it was Team A.
Yeah, that was there. They scared us.
I think it was Team A right here.
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so Team A did really good. They rotated the way I said was probably best. They're holding this hard cover. It ain't pretty, but it's really all you got. If I were them, what would I do? I would build out to this wall and work this wall. That's really the only choice you have, and I would do it sooner than later. Yes, good. Work this rock. Get towards here. They should have done it way sooner. There's no reason to do it when zone is closing. I usually say, hey, we got to do it now before zone closes. If they did it before zone closed, I think they would have been in a lot better shape and possibly made it out there. Team C was going hard on them, but they paid the price for it. They focused too long without worrying about their hard cover. Went a little too tunnel vision on Team A because they were very exposed to this entire zone, which a team was certainly going to be at because of where the zone is closing. So now Team A is not going to make it. Zone, unfortunately, got the best of them. Team C is going to make it. Team F now is just got to play aggressive, and they are. Good job.
Speeding. Good job, man. Damn.
Good job, everybody. Good job, everybody. Work together, work together. 2v1, 2v1 it, 2v1 it. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh no, he's going hard. No shotgun on trapdoor, it looks like. Keep distance, good, keep distance. Good build, trapdoor, good build. You gotta peek something. Oh! Eat banana! There's no reason you can't eat a banana. Eat a banana! Eat a banana! No! Okay, so if you're watching this trapdoor, you had about 10 seconds to eat a banana and shield up there. Yep. Good job, though, everybody. Everyone had really good rotates there. I was watching them. Gather up, everybody. Gather up real quick, real quick. One tip, 2 tips before we go. Gather in, gather in. Y'all did fantastic. Y'all did fantastic on your zone rotations, particularly for the first 2 zones. I was so impressed. Every single team did really good, and you're going to see that in the tape. You rotated the hard cover. It was fantastic. What went wrong for just about everyone is all of y'all's movement is really slow, okay, period. You rotated well, but in the mid zones you rotated too slow. And I mean two things when I say that. First off, you made the choice to rotate too slow. I saw a lot of y'all wait for the zone to close before you rotated. Do it before. There's no reason you shouldn't do it before, particularly since you know a lot of the other teams are going to rotate when the zone's moving as well. Sometimes you're better off being the first team that rotates, if that makes sense. The second thing is I see y'all ground walking way too much. Everyone is ground walking. So if there's no hard cover, first off, you should always be using hard cover to fly, right? Always. But if you're not, and I learned this from watching Clev, is you can always fly because you throw one build, and you see how low this build is? But watch how far I can fly from just this one build. And I grab another one, and I'm out of here. Right? Like, that's all you got to do. So you should never, ever ground walk. Okay? So I used one build. You grab 2 hands, and you throw up a straight vertical. As soon as you get to top, fly. Do another build. Fly. And you want to throw yourself with one hand at the very edge of it, as far as you can. So you grab the very edge. So when you climb, you want to time it so that you're at the very top. And you fly like that, right? All the way. So there's no reason you should be ground walking, okay?
Hey, speaking, were you guys doing construction?
Yeah, so you throw vertical as hard as you can with one hand at the very edge, and you can get over it, right? Like that.
Nice job, Billy. That was good.
I want y'all to clear this second build. Clear the second build right now before we start the next game. So come over here, grab, clear that build. Clear that build. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Excellent. All right. I want to see this in game, and you all will be doing just perfect. All right. So everyone potted out. No one hot dropped. So we have half the team, half the map is unused, okay? And this team, I think, right here, figured that out, and they dropped. Okay, good. So always watch the pods. If you see that no one is dropping short, sometimes it's better to drop short because you can get all that nice loot and you're going to be safe. So you're going to have a full build before you engage in a fight. Okay, so watch all the pods. Sometimes it's better to pod really early if no one hot drops. But usually in a comp match, someone's always going to hot drop, right? So we got this team, which has plenty of zone to work with. We have two teams really close to each other right here. Team C and... Oh, they're not that close, I guess. Look closer. Oh, sorry. Sorry for making you all dizzy. Team A and Team C. I'm doing this while sitting down. Team A and Team C here. Somewhat close to each other. I'm not a big fan of this farmlands area. So I would if I was this team, Team A, what would I do here? You will be able to hold a team for sure while they get to zone, but you always know that someone pods an outpost. Like, outpost is like such a popular spot, so I don't want to be here too long because the outpost team can just come down and just murder you. So if I was this team, I'd move towards this area, the foothills, hills, or summit. But since you know everyone dropped around here, unless you're trying to be aggressive, which you can be, I would roll on this hard cover and work up to fight this team, or push up very quickly to this hard cover so you're holding the hill before this team comes down. Or if you're trying to play safe, I'd rotate to tower and away, because you saw most teams are on this side of the map. If you're trying to play safe and play for placement a little safer, I would rotate towards tower and maybe hide and seek a little bit in Defiance and tower area. All right, let's give another team some advice. Team B, you're alone in Metropolis. I'm pretty sure if you were watching the pods, so you're free to loot. Excellent. You have this whole area. Oh, no, I lied. There is another team in Metropolis, which is not surprising. So I hope they know that, and they probably do. So they're going to play a little safe. With this zone, if I was this team, Team D, what would I do? Well, you have zone here in Metropolis, so honestly, you could camp out in one of these low buildings if you wanted to play for placement, and just make sure you got enough loot. And I would honestly wait for the next zone. Now, if I'm playing aggressive and playing for points, I'm just going to charge a team, right? But if you're playing safe, then I would hold, steady in a low zone, loot out, and wait for the next zone to see what choices you need to make. Now, Team C says, no, we want to play aggressive. We know teams are in Metropolis, and that's A-okay to do. That's perfect, right? I actually play more aggressive these days. It just depends on the teammates I have, whether I decide to play aggressive or not, and how high skilled my enemies are. So they're playing the high ground. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it isn't in Metropolis because you can get peeked on these ledges real easy. But they do want to play a little more aggressive. They're going to push. Unfortunately, they're making a lot of noise. Team A is going to come up right behind. Team A is doing a great job. They started in farmlands. They came up to this hard cover, and they're going to push and squeeze some teams here. No one fighting just yet, but we're about to get some action, and it's all going to come down Metropolis. Whoa, so you see this zone. So now the problem is a lot of teams are squished up here, and the zone is so far away, right? So my plan for many of these teams, for Team C, they're not so far from the zone, so I'm not stressing. My plan in Team T is get some kills, right? Get some nice free shots on some teams, and that's what they're going to do. Let's do a different team. Team B. So what would I do if I was Team B right now? Well, I probably know that there's probably not someone at Complex, because if they were paying attention, they know someone dropped out here. There could be, but I would rather fight one team. And so if I said, okay, there might be people at Complex, but let's go there anyways, because that's a great place. There's still some zone here at Complex Wall, so we can hold some hard cover. I like it. And then we can come here, decide what to do next. Even if there's a team here, let's fight them, and we can always retreat if we have to, because there's plenty of time for this team because they have so much zone to work with. Let's get to the action here. Okay, no action yet. So we have one team low, one team high. That can happen in Metropolis a lot. It looks like Team C is not just playing really aggressive. They're just holding the high ground, trying to get some free shots on people. They don't see Team F, and they should. Keep your eyes open. This is why I say always have eyes. I think they saw him now. I think Philly saw it. So he said, hey, we got a team coming up behind us. What are we going to do? And so they said, let's get out of here. Let's move, because they're coming up behind. And they saw it, and Team F said, no, we're not letting you slip out. So good choice, Team F. Team C is good choice as well, because if you started fighting there, Team D could just easily just third party you, right? So I think this was a really good choice. Unless you vastly outskill your enemies so you can just wipe them within like a minute, it's better to play for positioning most of the time, okay? Most of the time. So Team B made a good choice, but it was really interesting because Team G said, no, we're not going to let them rotate here. We're going to rotate to this first. So they did a great job, and unfortunately Team B got stuck. So Team B has to do quick. They only have a couple seconds to decide. They need to drop low, rotate low through here, this hard cover, and out. or they have to push through that team because now Team A is coming up behind them. So, oh boy, every second counts here. You can't sit for too long. You cannot sit for too long because Team A is coming up right behind. It was good positioning by Team A. They decided to do the same thing Team B did. Oh boy, now they're getting shot in the back. They weren't paying attention behind them, and now they just got caught, unfortunately. All right, nice try. Good rotating, though, Team B. Just got stuck. When you get stuck like that, I don't usually like to sit. So, advice for next game. When I get stuck against another team, just like this, and we're not making progress, like we're not getting op shots or sniper shots, and they're stuck, and it's a stalemate. I say, we can't sit here. We got to move. And so I would have dropped low, just dropped down, and gone through these buildings down here before it was too late. But okay, no, Team C is doing the same thing Team A did to Team B. Let's see what happens. They are a little more prepared for it. Oh boy, peek something because it's a 2v1. Oh, not expecting it. Here comes Leo with the Matadors for the kill. Nice try though, Team C. You did a really good job in terms of like how you rotated. I think you could have gone low ground. You didn't have to push them high ground. I think the choice you made was let's go hard and kill them, and that always has risks. You could have gone a little safer and just gone low ground. That would have been a safe way to do it, but you chose the more aggressive way, and that's not a bad thing. Just you got to play it out either way you do it. Nice try. Okay, Team E is all by his lonesome, but he's stalling. He's doing really well surviving. Great job, honey. And here he goes. Oh, good poke damage. No shield though. Oh, he's doing good surviving. Oh no, but whoa, good job, honey. Oh my god, that was so close. Nice try, honey. That was really close, actually. I thought honey had that there for a second. Good maneuvering, honey. Very nice. Good maneuvering. Made it to near the end zone too. Okay, so we got Team D here, Team A and G. The best spot to be is right here. Team G, actually, Team D, or at least Genghis, has probably the best way to rotate towards zone. If I was Genghis right here, I would drop down here, grab this building, and grab it quick because Team G is going to grab it. And that's what they're doing. They grabbed the drop. So Detroit did good. He claimed the drop, and if he does better, one step better would be to claim this building. This is our building because this building is going to be it. Okay. Now,
Right.
yeah. I saw Genghis is doing it. He said he saw Googs or Detroit running, going back in the summer. He said, no, we're going to claim this building. This is a good hardcover. And so they monopolize this building. They're in the best situation. Team A is unfortunately not in a really good situation at all. There's not much you can do at this point except rotate hardcover over here towards this truck. That's really all I would do and really all you can do honestly at this point. So he's going to play it the best he can. All you can do at this point when you're stuck in this crappy situation is get damage and get kills. That is your goal. If you know you're not going to win and you're not going to get better placement, you go for damage or kills or stall so that something like what happened there happened. Team G went down first, so you just got 3 more placement points because you just stalled, right? So sometimes it's not better just charge. Stall it. Stall is good. Hold. Good make to zone. Good build to zone. Very nice. Oh, they have P90s. Is that a P90? No, that's MP5 and an RFB. So that is why he made it to zone. He made it to zone because they don't have good build break weapons. And look at that. One man is able to outbuild 2 people shooting. If the lessons I have taught you today don't ring into your head, let you learn that you need a build break gun because that one man was able to take so much pressure just by spamming build, right? But very cool. Good job, everybody. Good job. Good building, Leo. That was a good example of building to survive. Great job. Great job. If you had a teammate, that teammate could have just shot those 2 people that were shooting at you, right? That was good build. All right. One last tip before we get the last game going. One last tip. Y'all did excellent in rotation. Again, you guys are rotating so smart. And you're moving faster. I saw it. Now the only extra tip is build to survive, as in build. Use all your build before you die. I think Leo was the only one who actually used all his build before he died. And what'd you see? You saw him defend against 2 people shooting with just spamming build, right? So spam your build before you die. That's the only other tip, and you guys are rocking it. Okay, all y'all. Very nice. Let's do this. Last game.
That's why I died.
There you go. Perfect. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Game 3 of the Comrades in Carnage coaching. This is just a fun scrim coaching we are doing. Not paid coaching, just for good fun. And let's see what we got here. We've got everyone potting out. No one hot drop, but they noticed. Good job, Honey and team over here, that no one hot dropped. So they are going to drop early and take all this loot and have a lot more options for zone, because they're going to have more time to decide what to do before they get a full build, or at least a decent build. So we have Team B is going to get plenty of time, like we said. This team's going to have a lot of loot, though, and they're going to be nice and safe. So if zone works in their favor, they're going to be A-OK. They should have seen a squad drop cemetery, and they should have seen a squad drop armory. So what would I do if I was this team that's in the middle of everything? Well, you have options. First off, you can sit in the middle of the map and wait for everyone to kill each other. Sometimes that actually works out, which is hilarious. But the smarter thing to do is to choose one team to hold at a zone corner. So if you're here in the middle, you don't want to wait, because cemetery team's going to come south. They have to. You know this team isn't going to come here because you know there's a team at Kingdom 2. So what would I do? I would probably rotate up to Outpost in the helipad and hold this poor team, because this is a lot of dead zone. If there is a team coming from this direction, I know we can probably hold them, right? And so if I was this team, Team G, I would rotate towards the helipad and hold this poor team. Because if you go this way, Kingdom team, it's pretty much going to be a triangle fight here. You're going to have this team who's still safe in zone and armory, and this team at Kingdom who can just third party you. So I would go that way. This team has many options, Team F, because they're here so early at zone. If I were them, what would I do? Well, I would make sure we all have our full loot. There's no excuse not to. And then I would say, hey, we have this zone corner we can hold people out from. We can push this way. We know teams are in Metropolis. There always are. So we can hold this high ground over here. I'm circling. We can hold high ground like this. Or this building if we really wanted to. But any one of these hard buildings, maybe this one would be good. Hold this and get some nice pressure on the teams that are retreating from zone. Or here likewise, because you're going to have all this open area to shoot people at, right? Because they're usually always teams that got across the street eventually in some way, shape, or form. So that's what I would do if I was this team, Team F. But we'll see what they do. Okay, we might have fighting coming up soon. All right, so we have Team D, rotating Kingdom. So this is very interesting, Team D. So they are deciding. Oh, wow. What happened? Oh, he's AFK. Yeah, that's an AFK. Not much you can do about that. Okay, no wonder. It looked like there were two squads. There's only one squad. I'm an idiot. That was one squad. So I correct what I said earlier. This Outpost team could have gone this way. But honestly, you're making a lot of noise here, and you know teams are coming from this direction. I like this holding a north team from Cemetery, if holding this helipad, just because I know this is dead zone right here, so it's nice territory to hold. All right, we're going to have action coming up. Likely going to be at the corner I was talking about. Everyone playing very safe, and that's okay, because I told them I want to see you all in the end zone. We're practicing rotating here, not necessarily practicing playing aggressive. Anyone can charge someone. Oh, we got teams going to fight here for sure. Okay. So we got one team coming from up here. One team has the high ground. That is smart. Philly made a quick decision. He said, no, I'm not fighting up that hill. Let's work around to the left. And zone's actually going to work that way too. So good choice. Yeah, because this Team G is not going to come down the hill, right? This is the worst place to come down from. One of the worst places. You're just going to get shot. So you know they're not going to come this way. I like that, unless they're stupid aggressive. And then, so they rotated perfectly. They're peeking, holding our cover. Great. And Team G said, nah. Now that team has a good position on us because of zone. So they rotated back out. And they're rotating hard cover. So I think that was a really good choice in terms of, decisions, rotating decisions. Again, we're not practicing charging, right? We're practicing rotating. That was a good decision. Okay, so everyone wants to make it to the final zone here. Very cool. Team A is playing the zone corner. A little dangerous, especially since no teams are down. But they're doing a good job surviving so far. They made it out of not a good corner. They had to run all the way from Metropolis past another, teams that were close to them towards zone. So really cool. They have a straight shot to zone. If I was this team, what would I do? I would roll low, hard cover here, hard cover here. I don't like tower personally because of potential pin drops, unless I am a good pin dropper or have a good pin dropper on my team, I would roll low into this building because zone's going to close really slow here. And I would just roll and hide in these, well, not hide, but I would rotate this way towards zone in this direction, and you have a straight shot towards some hard cover here. That's what I would do if I was this team, Team A. Now Honey is doing that, okay? Honey is doing a great job at that. He is going to take that position. Very cool, okay? So awesome. Team C still has their nice little spot here. Zone's closing, but they have a wonderful spot. I would actually, if I were them, I don't want to make a lot of noise and sit here too long. They are trying to get some good damage, but I don't want to be held out of zone. Like a team could just come here and take this tower and screw them over. Like if I were them, I would want to hold this tower, or at least get on here so I can see what's coming. Because unless they know there is no other team coming from that side, and I don't think they do. If they do, great. But if they don't, I would come up here just to make sure everything's safe, because you have a bird's eye view on everything zone related. Okay. Oh wow, a team went down. I totally missed it. That's sad. Very sad. Nah, very sad. I missed it. Okay, so we got this team. Let's see what this team could do. So this team is working the hard cover. They're trying to get this on the best they can. They have a lot of hard cover to work with. They have all these buildings, all these crates. They can work here. It's not pretty. It's not a good spot. Honestly, this is where they got to get to. This corner, there's a nice rock here to chill at. Okay, we got fighting. Team C is making a lot of noise. Sometimes it's good to do that. Sometimes it isn't, because you're going to attract a lot of attention. And you're pretty much telling every other team that you're not looking at them. So it's really only worth taking the shots if you're going to get some damage out of it. Because what happened? Team D came up and said, oh, I can get some free shots on someone who isn't looking at me. And he broke someone, Team D. And Team D is all by his lonesome. If he had a partner, that would have been a kill. So good rotating, Team D. You were playing it like you had somebody else. That was perfect. But you got to watch out for over here, because Team F has a nice wall corner that they can come to claim this tower. And that's what I would do if I was Team F. Team D, he has a nice position now, but it's not going to be nice for long. He is solo, but if he wasn't, I would just say his best bet is to hold this wall here against this team, assuming he knew this team was here, but he does not, and he did not. Team B is beautiful spot. They said, hey, we have this spot. Let's just chill. Let some of the teams fight each other, and a lot of time, that's the best scenario for placement. I hate playing hide and seek and being a wussy, but sometimes you just have to be.
All right, man. I'm hopping off. Thank you.
All right.
See ya. Okay. Oh, good grenade. Good grenade. It'll be on YouTube, the video. And I'll put it up tonight. Yep. I'll put it in your clan channel, too. Team A is now getting shot by two teams, which is not pretty. Oh, don't go out there, Moody. You're gonna. Oh no, he blocked himself out on accident. Oh god, that was dangerous. Good job, good recovery. You have this rock. This is your rock. Don't let anyone come up to this rock. Nice try, Leo. What would I have done there? I would have peeked with the shotgun, but I know you didn't hear him coming up close to you. I think y'all had to stack and help each other out there, or since you were low, I would have come here and held this rock. That's probably what I do until you're back to 200 health. I think what I see everyone making mistake of, what I should have said in the last game is, in addition to not building before you die, I see a lot of y'all not drinking, like getting yourself up to 200 health. I think the big difference between top players and all the rest is that they can heal up to 200 in like 2 seconds. And I think that's a skill everyone needs to have. And it's easy to do. I was honestly lazy and didn't learn it until a couple months ago too, so I get it. I'm actually working on a banana video right now that I'll publish today. But beautiful zone for Team C. It just worked in their favor. Doesn't get any better than that. I don't have to tell any advice to that team. Team F, oh god, there's a team on the right. I don't think they know, but hey, Trap is doing great as in he's pushing, but you gotta shield up. You gotta shield up. No, you don't fight, but hey, it worked. You got lucky. But this team can shoot you in the back, which they're doing. You have to shield up. I always make sure I have more than 130 health, so I'm out of like a 2-shot range for a DT. Oh, nice try, Spiral. You're doing what you can there. When you charge someone, you have to be careful on the peak. Like, they have the peak on this hardcover, right? If you knew they were here and they were holding this peak, you essentially cannot charge down at them unless there were 2 of you. And if you can, I mean, the way you charge down at them is not the way you did. You have to use your build, and that's not easy to explain here. It's a Tech 9 Junior move to do that, but it's too complicated. And they put it to zone, so Team B did good as in they slow played it. They hid until they had the opportune moment to sneak in and get some kills to zone. So they got kills too, even while hiding and seeking.
Great play.
Very cool.
Great play.
Good job, Team B, and good job, everyone. Everyone's rotating fantastically. Good job, everyone. Great job, y'all. Hey, one last tip before I go. One last tip, but great work, everyone.
Hey man, appreciate it. Thank
Yeah, you all have to learn how to eat bananas faster and drink shield faster. Like I see, like plenty opportunities for everyone to get back to 200 health. Like there's no reason, like Trap, like you had perfect build. You had like 3 seconds. A top player can chug the banana and chug their sodas within 2 seconds, right? So like practice eating your bananas and drinking your shield faster, because you can just spam build and do that in a second, right? Like literally. But otherwise, y'all did great. Pat yourselves on the back. That was freaking awesome rotations. Yeah, it's all good. Yep. Yep. It'll be on YouTube in a bit.
CIC hug, group CIC.
Yeah, comrades and carnage, honey, get over here too and hug it out. Yeah, it's good to see you all. GG's, everybody. Good job, everyone. I was so impressed. Good stuff. Good luck.
To see you out in the